Welcome back, everybody, with another episode of Podcastin with Colossal. I'm your co-host, Erin Marie, aka Baby Girl, and here's your host, the CEO of Colossal Entertainment, Gary Hildeman Sr.
Yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy Garrett, your host with Podcastin with Colossal, and also the CEO of Colossal Stepping Entertainment. Man, it's one of them days, man. You get tongue tied. You don't even know what day it is. You don't know where you're at. And we up in the studio, and hey, man, I don't know what day it is. I forgot what time it was, man, because our tech asked us if we wanted to start at 5 o'clock, man. I thought I was early. So, man, so man,
it's one of them days.
Man, it's one of them days, bro. But man, we want to thank Intellectual Radio Studios for allowing us to be on air. Because, man, this is a great platform to come on board and be able to have a real conversation without feeling like you have to limit what you say, but you have to limit how you say it. You can't on air cussing because they will take you off. You don't want the FCC finding people. So, man, we don't want to be fined because we over here acting a fool. So we try to keep it real and basically keep the profanity to a minimum.
PG-13, y'all.
Whatever PG-13 is, but we try to do what we can to have a real conversation and bring everybody in on it. As I said, but we thank Intellectual Radio Studios for allowing us to come on air and share our thoughts and convictions with you about how we feel about what's going on in our community. Also, we want to say thank you to Broadview Park District for allowing us to share our craft with Chicago style stepping community and teaching the class at Broadview Park District. Also Triton College, who's also allows us to host our classes there. And also the VFW Post 2801 in Villa Park, Illinois, where we will be hosting our Steppers event on this Saturday at 8 p.m. until 1 a.m. We're hosting Eric E.T. Taylor, B103's very own Eric E.T. Taylor, and his wife Michelle Taylor's 19th year wedding anniversary.
That's a blessing, y'all. 19 years of marriage.
So, man, we're gonna be hosting them on this Saturday, man. So, and I said we thank God that they thought enough of us to allow us to host their anniversary party. So, man, we're excited about that, and we're inviting you all to come out. Tickets are $10 in advance, $15 at the door. Again, $10 in advance, $15 at the door at the VFW Post 2801, 39 East St. Charles Road in Villa Park, Illinois. So we invite you all to come out with us on Saturday night, starting at 8 p.m. We party until 1 a.m. But like I said, we don't believe in having anything crazy going on, and we have a safe location for everyone to come out and just enjoy themselves. And so, man, we invite you to come out and enjoy a few hours of stepping with us. We do stepping, we do house music, we do line dancing. So, man, we like to have some fun, especially just real people like to have some fun and not have to worry about all that craziness and shooting and getting jacked and all this other stuff. You don't have to worry about that in the area where we are.
We ride across the street from the police station, y'all.
Yeah, we're right across the street from the police station. So if you want to come out and act a fool, then man, you come act a fool if you want to. The police, you already know they ready, and they standing at the ready, waiting on something to jump off. So man, again, we look forward to seeing you on Saturday night if you want to come out and step with us on Saturday night. So for tonight, our topic, we want to go now our part two of when did funerals become the new family gathering? When did funerals become the new family gathering? That's the real question. When did funerals become the real family gathering? Because now, as you already know, family has actually taken a nosedive somewhere up down the road, and we don't see family members. What's up, Yolanda? We don't really see family members until someone in the family passes away.
True.
And then they act like they've been around the whole time. And I don't understand how that comes into play, because people are looking at us and saying, Yolanda says, hey,
Hey, Yolanda girl.
Yeah, um so we're looking at how did funerals become the new family gathering. I mean,
It's an
y'all
open
don't
question to
talk,
everybody.
so people can kind of chime in, help a brother out. When did funerals become the new family gathering, and when did the repast become uh the family banquet? Because when you look at it, you have certain family members who are close to each other. You have certain family members who are close to each other. Then you have that the other side of the family that you haven't seen in almost 10 or 15 years that show up at a funeral.
True.
And then then you have to kind of reacquaint yourself about who your family really is, because you don't know if you've been seeing these people out in the streets, at the store, and you don't even know that they're your actual family, because you haven't seen each other in so long that that people change, looks change. Um, the guys the guys' hair is so long, you don't even know if it's a guy or a female that's in your family. Um, I'm just being real, because now because the thing is that no, the woman's hair is short and the guy's hair is long. So man, it's like people switch roles, and we're trying to figure out when did family funerals become the new family gathering. And you have to know, and you don't really know who your family really is until you see them at a funeral. And then when they introduce themselves to you, and they say that they're your cousin, and you've been seeing them out in the street the whole time, and they didn't even know who you were, and that's a travesty within itself. Um, you got some guys out here who really don't know who their family is, and you got kids out here who are in the streets hanging out with each other. Um, they don't know who their cousins are. They don't know who their uncles are. They don't know who their aunts are. And you may have seen these kids in the mall, on the streets, um, basically just anywhere. But when you actually see them at the family reunion, because they show up at the family reunion, and then they turn around to be then they turn around and be family that that you didn't even know it was family. So we're just trying to figure this thing out. Like, how do you handle when you get to a funeral and you see somebody that you've been seeing the whole time in the streets, and you didn't even know that they were your family? How do you handle those moments? How do you handle those moments when you got people that you didn't know that you've been at odds with over something, and then you come to find out that person is actually related to you? How do you handle that situation? Do you allow that situation to just be let go, or do you hold on to it and just keep a beef with that person because you are at odds with that person, but then you come to find out that person is actually family? You got people out here who are I'm just gonna say it. You got people out here who may be shady, who may be really shady. And you basically been hanging out with the person, and and then come to find out later on that this person is your family member. Man, I had the opportunity to talk to my dad on yesterday. I had the opportunity to talk to my
Dr.
dad.
Grandpa George.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to talk to my dad on yesterday, and because I wanted to know about some family members that I didn't know about, and he just happened to tell me that I have a lot of family members who are living on the west side of Chicago, and then naming names, and no last names and first names, and I'm sitting around looking like, man, I live right here in the West Burbs, and I didn't even know I had family on the west side of Chicago. That now we all spread all over the place. Now that's crazy. Because I actually had to call my dad, like, man, it's like, where are our family located? Where no where do we come from, and how do we, how do we actually jive together? And he was just saying, no, well, this, no, so and so is your cousin, so and so is your cousin, so, and like, and it's kind of crazy that, you know, I've been all around the west side of Chicago, going to different churches, going to different events, and I might have ran into some of my cousins that didn't even know that they're my cousins. And I'm trying to get an understanding that, we go through life not knowing who we're related to. We don't know how we're interconnected with anybody because our families have become so divided. So I wanted to get to that point. Our families have become so divided that we don't even know who our family members are, who our family members aren't. Our children don't know who their cousins are. They don't know who their aunts are. They don't know who their uncles are. Why? Because we have animosity toward another side of the family. Or you might not have the animosity toward the other side of the family. That side of the family may have animosity toward you, and you have no reason to have animosity against you. It may stem from somebody. It may be a parent. It may be a godparent. It may be a grandparent that somebody has animosity against, and they tend to take that animosity out on you because they look at you as being guilty by association, because that your side of the family is closer to that side, that person than they are, and they want to make a big deal of it.
Hey,
People,
Holly.
people are vicious, no, so to speak, because now family members are fighting family members at the funeral.
Sad.
Family members are fighting family members at the funerals. It's not the outsiders who are fighting. It's the family members who are fighting with family members at funerals. And then you try to get an understanding as to how we allow ourselves to get to the point of allowing so much division in our families that we don't turn around and try to mend that relationship. And then we start taking sides. I've been to enough funerals now to see that we have people who are actually um this family dynamic to a whole nother dimension, because they treat it like, they treat families, they start to treat the family like street gang. Because you got, on one side you have one name. On the other side you have another name. Then on the other side you have another name. And because they don't have the same last name as you, then it becomes like a street gang, and try to figure out what set you actually represent. And it's crazy, because as family we're all supposed to represent each other. We're supposed to represent each other. How is it that we're not representing each other? We misrepresent our families and do our forefathers and our elders. We do them dishonor by dishonoring our family. Man, we walk through life hating another side of the family because of whatever happened in the past. And so because we don't like that person, or we don't like how that person acts, man, we keep ourselves at a distance. But let somebody pass away, then all of a sudden we all come together. But when we do come together, it's still one family sits with each other, another family sits with each other, another family sits on another row. or you find yourself sitting on the other side of the church because you don't want to be near the other side of the family. Man, we have to get back to the to the essence of family. We have to get back to the essence of family, because one thing I've learned growing up is that a family that prays together stays together. But there's so much animosity and division in the family that they don't even talk. I can talk about my family, because um, being the oldest, the elder cousin in the family, it's gotten to the point where one side of the family doesn't speak to the other side of the family, and nobody understands why this takes place. Nobody understands how we got to this point. But you come to find out that this had been going on way before we even that when we were growing up. There was something brewing when we were growing up that we knew nothing about. But it took for the patriarch of the family to pass away. The patriarch of our family passed away. As soon as the patriarch of the family passed away, that's when the snowball effect happened. Nobody knows exactly why it happened. Nobody knows how it happened. Nobody even tried to figure out why it happened. But it happened. So you look at people, you try to talk, you try to talk to them, and you try to figure out, man, how can we get this thing going? How can we bring this back together? How can we, bring this family back together? But then you come to find out that the other cousins talk more to each other than they talk to you. And then they feel like, well, you're the older generation. So because you're the older generation, you can't relate to our generation. So they tend to do what they choose to do on their side. And then when it comes back, people look at us and say, man, how could you allow this to happen? First off, I'm one person. I cannot control what a larger family does. Because when you look at it, family needs to come together regardless of just death. It shouldn't take death for family to come back together. I don't care who you are. I don't care what walk of life you come from. Just because someone passes away doesn't mean that that's the time when family should come together. We should come together regardless of anything. Man, we should form some kind of line of communication, because I say, a lot of people do get along with other family members, family members who are living out of state. And some people, you really don't know until you actually go out of state and actually start, to see that, man, this is your uncle, this is your auntie, this is your cousin. And when you start to see that all of these people that you didn't know it was your cousin, but you just happened to see them, you either saw them online, you saw them when you went somewhere, or you was around other family members in another state, and you didn't realize that and they were never formally introduced to you, and you didn't realize that these people were your family. And then you start to see, man, we have a bigger issue going on. We have a larger issue going on. The family dynamic has taken a hit. Why? Big mama ain't there no more. Big daddy ain't there no more. The godmama, it's like with those people who are close, close in proximity to the matriarch and the patriarch of the family, didn't try to bring the family back together. Why? Because they were at odds with each other. It's amazing when siblings are at war with each other. When siblings are at war with each other, that takes on a whole dynamic of its own.
Yep, sure does.
Because your children are affected. Why are your children affected? Because their aunt or their uncle is at odds with no with the mom, and then the mom doesn't want anything to do with their sibling, or the sibling doesn't want anything to do with the mom. So in essence, that takes a hit, and then then your children pick up on that same attitude. How do we allow that to happen? How do we allow that to happen? I'm gonna show you how we allow it to happen. Because we allow people to get in our heads, and we allow people to get in our minds. We allow people to get into our hearts. And whatever's on our mind comes out of our mouth. We don't think about what we say. We don't worry about what we say. We don't even care about what we say about the person or the people that we're talking about. And then we talk about those people around our children. We talk about them around our children. You can't say that you don't do it because we do. Because if you really look at it, back in the day, when grown folks was talking,
We stay in the child's place.
when grown folks was talking, children wasn't even allowed in the same room with grown folks. You were supposed to be separated from the grown people. You wasn't even allowed in the same room when grown folks was talking, because grown folks were having a grown folks conversation. These days are different, because now we have conversations about people and about things around our children that we shouldn't even have conversations about. And then then people look at us as, no, we're the problem. Yes, we are the problem, because we're allowing our children to pick up on certain things that they should never pick up on. I don't know who this is for, but you have to allow the old school form of family to come back into play. And what I mean by old school form of to come back into play, we don't talk about grown folks. We don't talk about grown folks conversations around children, because that's what we've been doing. We talk about any and everything around children. We allow them to talk about. No, we talk about any and everything around children, and when they pick up on it, when they pick up on it, the children start talking about it, and then saying things that they shouldn't even be saying. But we're the ones that allow it to happen, because our children pick up on animosities. Our children pick up on fights that's happening among family members, and because we're at odds with another family member, our children start fighting with their cousin. And it's not even and the thing is, it has nothing to do with the children. It's just, this is some petty beef that we got against our family member, but yet we allow it to filter into our children's lives, and then it filters into their minds and into their hearts, and then they pick up and takes on a whole nother life of its own. And we wonder why the family falls apart. You cannot keep wondering why the family falls apart, because my thing is that if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. You can't keep allowing yourself to come into somebody's life, or have somebody come into you.
Is that you?
Oh, that's you.
Oh, Lord.
Turn your alerts off, man. What the girl?
I thought I did. My bad.
Oh my God. Hey, y'all gotta excuse me, man. My co-host over here, she tripping. Her phone over here vibrating. Got the table going. Man, what the devil?
That's a first blooper.
What the devil?
My bad.
If y'all hear a hard vibrate, that's her phone, man. She got people hitting her up on the other end.
It's my TikTok, y'all.
See, TikTok. That's another problem. That's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation.
I'm not talking much tonight, y'all. I'm sorry, because I'm not feeling well, so I'm just listening.
Yeah. Okay. It's gonna be. Yes, I forgive her, Yolanda. I forgive her.
What you say?
I forgive her. Yeah. But no, but
I'm
that's it.
sorry, y'all. For that.
But
I'm sorry.
seriously, we we allow our beat, our animosity, and our arguments to filter into our children's lives and into their hearts and into their minds, and it takes on a life of its own. Because when you say something about another family member, and you know, and your children hear that conversation, and that conversation takes a life of its own in the children's lives, because then the children start talking about it among themselves, and then that conversation leaks out to the person that you were talking about, and through that person's child, then it takes on another life, then it becomes like a big gang fight, because
Sounds like
you know
a game of dominoes.
no, because my thing is, now everybody's starting to see that either you're petty as hell, or you just don't know how to let stuff go.
Hi, Grandma.
I don't care. Um,
Hi, Grandma.
what's going on, Tasha? Um, yeah. So, man, again, we allow family squabbles to become no to take on a life of its own, and you gotta understand is that life is much too short to deal with pettiness. Because if you have an aunt with a family member, and you're talking about it with no around your children, and your children talk about it with no with the no with among themselves, and then it gets to the child that's related to the next person, then that's when the argument takes place.
What up, Chris?
That's when the fight takes place. And it shouldn't come to that. It really shouldn't come to that, because now you're looking at um a petty argument that should have never took place in the first place, because we allowed our feelings to filter out into our children's lives, not into their minds. So now they're starting to see that we have a beef with somebody else, and we have a beef with a family member. And because we have a beef with the family members, our children pick up on it, and they don't like that family member, because you have an issue with that family member. And then every time you look around, there's a whole nother conversation going on with your children, and the children that are related to that sibling. And what is that conversation? The conversation is that it's on site.
See,
See, now, no, ain't nobody talking about you. Uh,
no, I know.
but my thing is that people have a conversation where it's that that is on site, and we try to figure out what is that exactly does that mean. Well,
On
what that
site means
means,
on site. When I
what-
see you, it's
should-
going to be me and you in the parking lots throwing hands. That's
Right.
what on site means.
but again, but the thing is that when your children pick up that type of attitude with family members, that's the problem. That's the main problem, because we allowed it to get there. Because our children should never want to fight their family members just because we have some petty difference with their mother, their father, or
But what if that
whoever it
family
is.
member has a petty agreements against a child?
Well, even if it's against the child, a child is a
they-
child.
I know, but things like they shoot it over the years. I think if it's done to that child and took it out on the child, and the child just got to the point of I don't care anymore.
But the thing is, no. But again,
Here, like,
family members should get to the point that they should be able to talk about any and everything and to work through their differences, regardless of what it is. Regardless of what it is.
but what if you have a family that doesn't like to talk, that just doesn't listen? It's like talking to a brick wall.
Like you.
You know,
When you got
You know
family, no,
what,
when you
y'all?
know,
it's gonna be on site with him in a minute.
see, when you have family members who are stubborn enough not to want to talk,
I love you too, Grandma. But your son
sometimes
finna get it.
sometimes you have to kind of back away from that person, you know, and not back away from them to the point where is that they know where that you allow your anger to build. But sometimes you have to back away from people and allow them to to deal with their own feelings, because you can't control what somebody else
What
feels.
feelings?
You can't control what somebody else feels. Because if you don't, you're gonna find yourself wanting to argue with that person. Then you're gonna find yourself wanting to put your hands on that person. And you should never get to that point, because we are family. We should learn how to agree to disagree. It's nothing wrong with not agreeing on with everything. It's nothing wrong with having heated discussions, but it should never get to the point where family members want to fight other family members, and then it filters into our kids. Then we treat it like a big gang war.
But thing is, like, it can get to a point of people throw name calling into it, or want to throw your kids into the mix when they're insulting you. That's a big no.
But the thing is, but again, that's what you call
Fine.
that's what you call immaturity.
And some people don't. Some people don't have the maturity or the mindset to even talk about anything.
But again, that's called immaturity. So when you find yourself being around immature people who cannot hold mature conversations about issues that they have, then maybe, just maybe, you don't need to have that conversation with that person. Because maybe, because the Bible says, from what the Bible says, I'm just gonna bring what the Bible says. No, it says if you have a odd against your brother or your sister, take it to him. If you two cannot work it out, bring a third party into it as a mediator to help work out the situation. If that cannot be worked out, bring another party in who's of a neutral mindset, who can see both sides of the coin, and try to bring you to a happy medium.
And I've been in that position of being the middle person, being the mediator.
But the thing is,
I've been in a point where family was divided over a fight between a sibling and aunt, and we had a family wedding, and I was like, I love everybody, leave me out of it.
but again,
Leave
see
me out
that.
of
But
it.
again, that's not the mature way to handle it. See, because the thing is
Because
that
remember, like, it's either you pick a side or you the enemy. Remember?
no, you don't. No, you don't
do
pick
that.
a side. No, you don't pick a side. The thing is that, man, that no, like you said, you love every.
And
No, you love
as
them
I
both.
said, I'm not picking a side. I love both, but if y'all can't, it has nothing to do with me.
But my thing is that no, that they have to learn how to talk to each other.
Mhm.
They have to learn how to talk to each other. It's because when it comes down to it,
Mhm.
they have to deal with each other up the road. Eventually, they have to deal. No, they have to eventually see each other up the road. Eventually, and if they say now, once they actually see each other and they come to realize, no, the foolishness of the fight, or if it's so serious,
It's to
then
the
they have
point
to.
of that they can't be in the same area, like ever in the same home, nothing.
But
It got to that point.
so, but again, but that's no, but that no, see
That
that filters
gatherings are
down.
separate now
But no,
because
but thing is that no, that was filtered down from the elders of the family. So when the elders of the family allow that type of atmosphere to take place, where the elders are the ones who are the instigators.
or they just they don't say nothing period and be like,
But a lot of times the elders do say something, because silence speaks volumes. Because if you don't speak up on it, people take that silence as approval. Because if you speak against it, then they see maybe you're taking a side. You're not really taking a side.
that's why I tried to back out of it. I
You
tried to
can't.
back
No, the
out.
thing is that no, that you can try to back out of it, but at the same time, people have to understand the unruliness in family filters down from the elders. It filters from the elders. If it filters from the elders, it's going to pass down from child to child. And then those children are going to want to fight the other children. Why? Because mama or daddy don't like the other person. So if mama and daddy don't like that person, then the kids don't like that person either. And the kids don't even understand the whole dynamic of the situation.
It just they take loyalty by default because it's their parents.
Right. But the thing is that us as parents, when we bring a conversation around our children, we're at fault.
That's true. We are.
We're at fault because those children should not be involved in a conversation that has nothing to do with them. So, which forces the children to take sides. If you start taking sides with your children, then that becomes a problem. Your children should never be forced to take a side. Of course, the children are going to protect their parent.
Of course.
The children would definitely protect their parent, regardless of anything, because that's how children are raised. You know, to take mama and daddy's side because they know they're going to protect mama and daddy if anything. They're going to protect them if they don't do anything else.
Yeah. Right or wrong.
But if you bring this conversation and you bring your kids into the conversation, then all you're doing is starting a toxic situation in the motion. And then when it actually comes out, you're going to be the one that's at fault because now your children are fighting their cousins. Because mama and daddy have an odd against this other person. And regardless of anything, you're still family. And then every time, they don't want to be around you. You don't want to be around them. So and they take their time and be like, okay, we're gonna have a family reunion. But family reunions are canceled
due to beefs.
Due to a lot of people not getting along with each other. And it's funny that the family reunion gets canceled, and it's not so much because the other people have an odd against you, but the thing is that they heard about all the conversations and don't want to be a part of it. They don't want anything to do with it. They don't want to be a part of the nonsense. So they stay away. Family members will stay away because of what they heard. And they choose not to show up. And you're right. No, you're right, Yolanda. A lot of family don't show up anymore. But a lot of the family don't show up because they hear about what's going on between other family members and they want no part of it. They want no part of it. And it really has nothing to do with them directly.
Well, if it's constant, ain't nobody got time to want to play referee or meet and everything else. It'll get to the point it gets mentally and emotionally draining.
But the thing is that but it's always one family. That's the point. It's always one side of the family that's fighting with each other. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. It's one side of the family fighting with the other. And when they're fighting with each other, other people get wind of it. They get wind of it through a phone call because the bat phone is ringing. The bat phone is ringing. So because they get on that conference call and be like, man, did you hear about so and so? Did you hear about so and so? Did you hear about this? Did you hear about that?
It's always negative.
And the thing is that it's negative because it's about the fight that's happening.
Right, but I wouldn't after a while. I'm not gonna even pick up the phone. I'm like this. I already know what it is.
But that's why family members don't show up. That's the attitude. Because they get tired of hearing about it.
Negativity every single day.
But you got the family members keeping up the same nonsense every single day. And everybody gets tired of it.
That's true.
People get tired of it. And it's like, so now families don't even show up.
I would tell them, hey, you got an issue with that person, bring it to that person. Stop bringing it to me.
But they're not going to do that because the thing is that because now they want to bring other people into the nonsense.
All you do is make it creating a bigger storm than it already is.
But that's what they want. That's why, no, that's where the family dysfunction takes place. That's why funerals have become the new family reunion. That's why funerals have become the new family reunion, because now they only show up for funerals because they want to see how people are going to act at the funeral.
I promise you, the last time I seen any inside of my family was my mama's funeral.
Exactly. Now you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The last time you seen any of your family was at your mother's funeral.
Well, the big majority, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So people show up because they want to see how you gonna act.
Shoot, how they acted.
You know, but the thing is, it ain't make a difference about how they, because see, that's the whole attitude. That's that immature attitude. It's all how they act. It's not, but thing is about, it's about how everybody acts as a family.
It was that day. I was to the point of I was basically checked out mentally. I was like, because like I was pregnant, I didn't want, and I'm being the eldest child. I had to be strong for everybody, and so I couldn't really grieve like I wanted to, and then try to keep everybody else in check. No, and no matter what people I have around me, what kind of family I have around me, I'm like, I got to the point of like, whatever y'all do, it's on y'all. This is my, like, I just don't, I want no parts of this. Like, I'm just mentally, emotionally, I was checked out. I just
Well, no,
didn't care.
but again, that's understandable, because that's that was your that's your mother. That's your mother's funeral.
How they acted, I didn't care about it anymore. I didn't care.
Exactly,
Like,
but again, see, that's the reason why we know that this conversation needed to be had, because that's the you're starting to see that there's a pattern that's been showing. There's been a pattern that's been showing that family is no longer family. We treat family like gang members. You got to represent one. You got to represent the set.
I was Army of One.
But again, you got, but because of who you are, where you come from, no, family has it's like, if I don't care, it's like, man, because just like our family, you got the Hildebrands, you got the Harringtons, you got the Winstons, you got but it's like everybody, it represents one side of the family instead of representing each other as a whole.
True.
People are starting to represent each other. One family, they represent one side of the family. They don't represent everybody. It's like they represent one side of the family, because man, they send out a representation.
I'm just learning this side of the family.
So they represent so they send out a representation of what this family is supposed to look like, how this family is supposed to act. This is how we're supposed to come together. But my thing is that that you cannot act like you got to want to show each other up at a funeral. Because that's what takes place in the family. The family dynamic is different now. It's a lot different now. Nobody really cares about what somebody feels, how they act, what they say. People are emotionally out of touch with each other, and you sit around and you look at them and you try to figure out what angle are they coming from. And then you really don't find out what angle they coming from until they blow up. Because they don't talk. Families don't talk about stuff no more. Because you want to know why they don't talk about it? Because the only thing that they talk about is each other. That's all they talk about is each other. How a person acts, what a person does, what their children did. How their children should behave. And the thing is that when that word leaks out about how you feel about that side of the family, then a bigger argument, a bigger argument starts. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say nigga. I apologize. I didn't mean to say nigga. But Negroes, y'all know how we act. But the thing is, but we know, man, we have issues that that are taking place. And the bigger issue is this: families are out of touch with each other.
True, that's true.
Families are out of touch. Families are emotionally detached. Families are spiritually detached. So With that detachment from family, then we become antagonists. The reason why I say we become antagonists because we start up a lot more mess than we should start up. Conversations that are being had about people shouldn't be had. If you want to have a conversation with a person, have a conversation with that person. I mean a mature conversation. Because either they're gonna accept how you feel or they're not gonna accept it. But at least it's out there in the open as to how you feel, why you feel the way you do, and how no and that no how and kind of work out how you're gonna move forward from that point forward. But people don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear that. Why don't they want to hear it? Because our generation, this new generation that's come along,
Gen Z.
their whole idea of dealing with things is fighting and shooting each other. That's their idea of how to rectify problems. It's fighting and shooting each other. That's how they deal with the nonsense. They don't want to have a mature conversation. They don't want to hear how we can work past it and become a family. They don't want to hear that part. Because if it doesn't benefit them, they don't want to hear it. And because they don't want to hear it, they take an issue with you because you said that you all should come together as a family and stop acting like fools and start seeing that there's a bigger picture. And the only thing that they heard was fools. Because they say that you're acting a fool. Bunky, what's happening?
What?
Y'all have to understand is that family has to come together. Because again, if you have a conversation with somebody and say, man, we need to start coming together as a family and stop acting a fool. And they don't hear the words come together.
They think
they don't hear the word family. The only thing they hung their thought on is the word fool.
Like who you calling a fool?
Then they have a conversation with other family members that, man, I had a conversation with this person and he called me a fool in the conversation, and that's not even where the conversation went. But that's where they took the conversation. That's the only thing, because anything derogatory in a conversation is what people hang their hat on. Because you sit there and say, man, somebody was acting stupid. And the thing that they hold on to is the word stupid.
And they're gonna say, hey, they said you were stupid.
They said you were stupid. And that's not what it was said. It's a man, like, because my thing is because just like, okay, man, we need to act like a family, man, because everybody acting fools and people acting crazy, and we need to stop all this foolishness. And then they take it back to the person, man, that person said that you acting crazy, you being foolish, and you acting a damn fool, and that's where it goes. And it's like, and everything that you just said got twisted in a family conversation.
They heard what they wanted to hear,
and they hear exactly what they want to hear, and they hang their hats on the derogatory statements that really has nothing to do with anything, because that's what they want to hear. Then they want to take it and say, well, that person said this about you. Man, you can sit there and say that, man, that was a nice red suit so and so was wearing. And they turn around and said you look like a chicken. So what? Man, where does that come from? And I mean, that's a nice red suit, man. No, and man, because the person in the family is full figure, they said that they said you look like the Kool-Aid man. So where does stuff come from? And the real conversation is this: family has to learn how to come back together. Family has to learn how to come back together. You cannot keep hanging your hat on the negatives of family. Because of the negativity of family, family has fallen off. You know, we don't see how Big Mama played a role, how Big Daddy played a role, how Grandpa played a role, how how our aunt or uncle played a role, and how how they kept the family going, and we don't take no we don't catch on to that. We really don't catch on to that. Now we hold on to the negativity of family fights. We hold on to that because that's what we see, that's what we know. Then we start associating names with with the fights and the negativity. Then that's how you start seeing people. And then you say a certain last name. You say a certain last name because the family name goes a long way. The family name goes a long way. But because you find yourself fighting over something that has nothing to do with anybody, you find yourself fighting over money that folks don't even know that. My thing is, if you loan that person $10 20 years ago, you ain't never gonna see that $20 again. Let that stuff go. You won't see that ever again. But you want to hold a grudge over $20 from 20 years ago, man. Let that stuff go because man, yeah, life is too short for all that. But that's the way you see somebody. It's like, man, okay, they didn't pay the money back, so you already know that you're not gonna loan that person money again.
Pretty much.
So that's the way it has to be understood. Is that, man? Okay, well, this person didn't pay me the money back they owed me back then. So why am I going to loan them the money now? And so, but that's that's a whole nother conversation. Just because that's what you experience with that person, then all of a sudden you spread that around the family that this person didn't give you $20 back.
And they said like, oh, you selfish.
Then they say, well, I gave that Negro this and I gave that Negro that, and then, that's a whole nother fight that's developing, and the person don't even know that you feel that way because you don't hold that to have that conversation with that person. How would somebody feel? How would somebody know about how you feel about them if you never really have the conversation with them? We hold on to grudges better than we do anything. We don't really talk about what's on our minds or what's on our hearts. But we hold on to the grudges. We hold on to the animosity because we see a person for who we want to see them as, and because we see that person that way, we want everybody to see that person that way. And you don't know how to come out of that state of mind. My brothers and sisters, let me say this. There's a whole bigger picture that we need to have. There's a bigger picture, a bigger conversation we need to have. How can we love family again? How can we bring family back to the dynamic that it used to be back in the day? How can we have civil conversations without it exploding into something else? But the bigger question is this: when will the older generation get involved and try to lighten this mood of animosity among family and get people to understand that regardless of anything else, we're still family? Because if we don't get to the point that understanding that we're still family and holding on to beefs and animosity against each other, man, we never gonna come together. And the funerals are gonna stay the new family reunion. The repasts are gonna stay the new family banquet. Because nobody has to pay for to come to the repast.
True.
Nobody has to pay to come to the funeral. The only time they may have to pay is if they stay in a hotel.
Or they pay gas if they travel cross country.
If you don't get it together, man, it's time that the older generation gets a hold of the younger generation and has a real conversation to find out why they feel the way that they feel. It's not about who they have the problem with. Find out why they feel the way that they feel. And help them to figure out how to come to a happy medium where they can understand the importance of family. Because if we don't, we're gonna lose out on our young people in our family. And they're gonna and mark my words, they're gonna be out there in the streets and they're gonna find themselves fighting against one another. And it's not gonna be, pleasant. It is not gonna be pretty. They're gonna fight each other, and then they're gonna want to kill each other. And you think I'm lying, man? Trust me, it's happening at funerals. It's happening at funerals. They're either fighting at the church or they're fighting at the graveside.
True.
And nobody is paying attention to it. And the only thing people are saying, it's a shame they acting like that. But there's a bigger problem going on. The older generation is not trying to get a hold of the younger generation and bring this thing to an end. Because if we don't, the family reunion is going to remain the funeral.
I totally agree.
It's going to totally stay. It's going to stay the funeral. You're going to that's the only time you're going to see family members is at the funeral. And they're going to be okay with it. Because the only thing they're going to do is come and eat, drink, and go home. And then it's like, if they figure they're going to fight somebody, it's going to happen eventually. It's going to happen eventually. You got to understand that, man, we got to get a hold of this. We got to put a stop to it. Family has to become family again. Family are not gangs. We don't just represent one set. We represent each other. Families represent each other. You cannot keep holding on to the foolishness that you allowed to go on for years. Our children are suffering for it. Your children are suffering for it. They don't even know who their cousins are. They don't know who their uncles are. They don't know who their aunts are. Why? Because we allowed it to continue to go on. But somebody got to start paying attention. When will that time come? Seriously, when will that time come? When family becomes family. And we don't treat it like a big old gang. Where one side of the family represents another set. One side of the family reps another set. And they want to fight against the other side of the family. Man, we're family at the end of the day. We're family at the end of the day. We represent each other. We represent each other. That's the bigger picture. Man, God is good, man. We're going to sign off from Colossal. Again, Saturday night, we have a set at the VFW Post 28 or 139 East St. Charles Road starting at 8 p.m. Man, we look forward to seeing you all. We look forward to seeing you all. Hey, man, Earl is cutting me off. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.
He's there.
Is that anybody's desire or testimony on tonight?